Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Goeiemôre, dames en here. Mweni manene, namaneni kazi. Welcome to the 2025 summer graduation season at Nelson Mandela University, where we will be celebrating the achievements of 563 graduating students, which includes 50 doctoral degrees and 89 master's degrees. Before we get the celebrations underway, we kindly request the following: that the audience rise when the academic procession enters the hall and remain standing until after the moment of silence, and again at the end of the ceremony after the national anthem as the academic procession leaves the hall. That you ensure your cell phones are on silent for the duration of the ceremony, but please do tweet using the hashtag MandelaGrad25 and tell all your family and friends that the event is being live streamed on our YouTube channel. That you do not leave the hall during proceedings out of respect for all our graduates and their families who have worked very hard to achieve their qualifications. Should you need to use the restroom, may we request that you do not walk in front of the stage, as this interferes with the photography. We do have water coolers in and around the venue to ensure that you do not go thirsty. And please note, in the unlikely event of power interruptions, please remain seated. A standby generator will restore power within a few minutes. And finally, some celebratory guidelines. After the Executive Dean has read out the graduate's name, please feel free to celebrate your loved one's special moments with clapping and cheers. But once the graduate reaches the Chancellor in the middle of the stage, out of respect for the next graduate, we ask that the cheers subside to allow us to hear the name of the next graduate being called out by the Executive Dean. We would like to be fair to everybody in the hall and for all our guests viewing at home to enjoy the special occasion virtually. We thank you for your support on this. We trust that you will enjoy the ceremony, and a hearty word of congratulations to each and every graduate on your special day. and gentlemen, we request that you join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated.
Good morning. Can I have your attention, please, on the emergency health and safety protocols of this venue? Thank you. In case of an emergency, the alarm will be activated. Please be calm. Don't panic. Walk calmly and look for the exit doors. In front of you, on top of the stage, there are two emergency doors. On my right hand side, on my left side, also at the back, on the right side, on my left side, there is the emergency doors. On top of each door, there is a running person and an arrow. You look for those signages. Please follow those arrows. Those arrows are gonna take you at the back of the hall. There is a netball court. The assembly point is there. You wait there. There is the emergency coordinators that will assist you. Please follow the instructions. You wait there until the emergency coordinators can say it's safe to come back to the venue. Thank you.
By virtue of the powers vested in me as Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, I hereby constitute this congregation for the purpose of awarding qualifications. Chair of Council, Justice Nambita Dambuza. Deputy Chair of Council, Ms. Michelle Mbato. All members of our council present, Vice Chancellor Prof. Sibongile Mutwa, apologies for that. Deputy Vice Chancellors, Executive Deans, Registrar, the Professoriate, members of the Academy and University staff members, President and members of the Student Representative Council, President of Alumni Association and alumni, university partners and stakeholders from government, the faith sector, civil society, communities and business, and most importantly, students graduating here today and their family members and friends. Molweni, goeiemorgen, good morning. Graduates of the class of 2025, parents, families, and esteemed guests, welcome. Before I proceed, I would like you all to stand. Everyone to stand in a moment of silence. We have sadly lost both faculty members and students over the past year, and I would like you to bow your heads in a moment of silence, please. Thank you. We trust they will all rest easy, and we remember the impact they've made on our lives. So to the graduates of the class of 2025 again, your parents, your families, and esteemed guests, welcome. What a magnificent and hopeful sight you are. Today is not an end point. It is a launching pad. And in my message to you, I want to do two things. To celebrate the magnificent achievement we witness today, and to illuminate the path that lies ahead for you. A path we believe you are uniquely equipped to travel. You are one of 563 students crossing the stage. Among you are 168 postgraduates, including 89 masters and 50 new doctors. I think that warrants a round of applause. On behalf of the entire university community, from council to the academics who guided you, we are not just proud, we in awe of your dedication. You did it. Congratulations. You leave here armed with a degree from Nelson Mandela University, and you step into a world that can at times feel fragmented and volatile. The headlines speak of complex challenges, from climate change to shifting global powers, and more locally, to a range of challenges. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, but I stand here today not to speak of gloom, but of opportunity, because your education here has been more than adapting to change. It has been about leading it. The world you entered as first years is not the world you leave today, and you are not the same person. You've been forged in a crucible of learning designed for this very moment. Beyond your subject expertise, we have sought to instill in you the heartbeat of this institution, our core graduate attributes. Look around you, and I'd encourage you, look around you. In this graduating class, we see intellectual curiosity that will question the status quo, a spirit of innovation that will find solutions where others see dead ends, the resilience to stand up after a setback, and the integrity to do so with honor. And most importantly, the conviction to be responsible agents of change. These are not just words on a page. They are your tools. They are the transformative competencies that will empower you to do more than just navigate the 21st century. They will allow you to shape it in a world of greater well-being and sustainability. So when you feel daunted by the challenges, I urge you to recall the words of President Thabo Mbeki, and I quote, "Gloom and despondency have never defeated adversity. Trying times need courage and resilience, close quotes. Do not succumb to the negativity. Rise above it. Your strength is not tested in the best of times, but in moments like these. And this brings me back to you, the graduate of this university, our namesake, Nelson Mandela. He understood that education is the most powerful weapon to change the world. He also knew that with that privilege comes a profound responsibility. Each generation, as Frans Fanon said, must discover its mission. Class of 2025, your mission is clear. Yours is the generation that must help resolve our most pressing challenges. But do not see this as a burden. See it as your calling. Whether you are entering the job market, starting a business, or continuing your studies, carry this with you. Use your skills not only for your own advancement, but as a force for good. Be a champion for justice, for equity, for humanity, in your office, your community, your home. Make a difference. As we celebrate you, we also thank families, friends, and mentors who walked this path with you. I want you to give an applause to them and acknowledge them in so doing. Their determination, sacrifice, and unwavering belief are part of the degree we confer today. So just as they say in the Cape for Pasella, let's applaud them again. And so, graduates, as you walk across the stage, remember the name you now carry forward into the world. Carry it with courage, with compassion, and with hope. And this is not goodbye. We welcome you now as the newest alumni of Nelson Mandela University. Stay connected, mentor those who follow, plow back your experience and wisdom. Your journey with us is simply evolving. And before I conclude, I actually want to acknowledge a guest who has joined us. And this is Dr. Masanori. And Doctor, I've got to get your surname right, Kabuyashi, from the Sasakawa Peace Foundation. He collaborates with us through the Peace Foundation on the Blue Oceans economy. Let's just welcome him here this morning. Thank you. And now to our graduates, go forth, make your alma mater proud. The world is waiting for your unique light, and you must make it unique. Take your moment. You have most certainly earned it. Halala. Now, I request the Arts, Culture and Heritage Ensemble to perform some items for us.
Emakayeni, bahleli khona bayajabula, nezingane zabo emakayeni, bahlela bazale emakayeni, emakayeni, bahleli khona bayajabula, nezingane zabo emakayeni, bahlela bazale emakayeni, emakayeni, bahleli khona bayajabula, nezingane zabo emakayeni, bahlela bazale emakayeni. Shiloini makanana, Shiloini makanana, Shiloini makanana, Gqeberha ceremony. Shiloini makanana, Shiloini makanana, Shiloini makanana, Gqeberha ceremony. Let's makanana, let's makanana, let's makanana, Gqeberha ceremony. Let's makanana, let's makanana, let's makanana, Gqeberha ceremony. Shiloini makanana, Shiloini makanana, Shiloini makanana, Gqeberha ceremony. Shiloini makanana, Shiloini makanana, Shiloini makanana, Gqeberha ceremony. Let's makanana, let's makanana, let's makanana, Gqeberha ceremony. Let's makanana, let's makanana, let's makanana, Gqeberha ceremony. Shiloini makanana, Shiloini makanana, Shiloini makanana, Gqeberha ceremony.
I would like the Arts, Culture and Heritage, to thank the Arts, Culture and Heritage Ensemble for performing those amazing items for us. Let's give them another round of applause. We shall now, honored guests, proceed with the awarding of the qualifications. And now I request the candidates to take their positions. I request the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Business and Economic Sciences, Professor Hendrik Lloyd, to present candidates for the respective qualifications.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to award the higher certificates, diplomas, advanced diplomas, and postgraduate diplomas, and confer the degrees and the honours degrees to the candidates who have completed their respective qualifications during the past academic year, whereafter I shall present to you the candidates receiving their qualifications in presentia.
I award the higher certificates, diplomas, advanced diplomas, and postgraduate diplomas, and confer the bachelor's degrees as requested.
Madam Chancellor, candidates for the higher certificate in business studies, Cameron Lee Matola. Vanessa Macamelo. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the diploma in accountancy, Wilwetu Kalimashe. Kanyisa Tsipa. Nombaza Belemo. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the diploma in economics, Onwaba Dala. Sipukazi Malope. Sibulelo Mzemleni. Pilile Sinka. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Diploma in Human Resources Management, Mashlubi Khelezi. Azilek Twele. Tamlin George. Anela Coupe. Pila Maricane. Sipesisle Macalene. Ayabolelo Manchi. Abigail Manuel. Sepiwe and Labucci. Kokotatsu Matsuana. Yonela Msize. Lisikanya Angalo. Bukanin Kinin. Lucano and Niso. Asipe Ngapeba. Fukuru Rachigone. Camogelo Soga. Siconelli Cesi. Unati Pieni. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Diploma in Logistics, Samakalisiwe Madola. Mandise Mankapa. Yomelelani Mgedezi. Zanele Nukumele. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Diploma in Management, Yolanda Dianchi. Tletelo Mavanisi. Tulisa Mofirol. Keanu Ward. Madam Chancellor, candidates for Diploma in Marketing, Sepanati Gonchi. Sangu Gwanka. Yamkele Maliwa. Owam Guni. Rotena Murulane. Stemba Miende. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Diploma in Tourism Management, Zimkite Dazela. Akona Godwa. Polisile Kali. Annalisa Kama. Shlumelo Mabulu. Matome Manyetya. Lelona Mafalala. Lunati Makumbu. Andesiwe Mogodongo. Asanda Makeleni. Nalisim Linga. Sibabawe Mnono. Nomtondazo Mashaba. Santiswa Mochoba. Zimaze Mavume. Sonikwa Mulekwa. Pumlani Mdledle. Zanele Mila. Linda Kukle Mbungo. Kwezi Mkile. Liko Mondile. Sinavo Ntetezo. Emehle Nogaya. Sinukolo Nozozo. Zipe Ushula. Siwapewe Penny. Yamkele Pukwana. Fortune Rantete. Apiwe Ntonga. Mono Sikaladi. Sika Lady. Sorry. Tembampo. Utle Voyia. Madam Chancellor. Madam Chancellor, the diploma is awarded cum laude to the following candidates. Goodness Villa, cum laude. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Bachelor of Arts, Development Studies, Yamkele Anise. Atinkosi Hone. Sipukazi Kubai. Anavuyu Spondo. Madam Chancellor, candidate for the Bachelor of Commerce in Business Management, Pwandu Manamatela. Madam Chancellor, a candidate for the Bachelor of Commerce in Economics, Kanyisa Sitole. Madam Chancellor, candidate for the Bachelor of Commerce, Economics and Statistics, Azavele Dangu. A candidate for the Diploma in Human Resources Management, Yonalise Ndondela. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Bachelor of Commerce in General Accounting, Leanda Apollos. Lolita Dwabi. Balentle Makungo. Kioratile Mlotshwatwa. Situle Pakati. Kanyisa Peter. Madam Chancellor, a candidate for the Bachelor of Commerce in Industrial Psychology and Human Resources Management, Matthias Centerfall. Madam Chancellor, a candidate for the Bachelor of Commerce, Information Systems and Business Management, Surprise Mhlongo. Madam Chancellor, candidate for the Bachelor of Commerce, Marketing and Business Management, Mwabi Kululumapiri. Madam Chancellor, candidate for the Bachelor of Commerce in Statistics, Nowandle Mhlombe. Madam Chancellor, candidate for the Bachelor of Commerce Tourism, Bushle Makedama. Masibonge Nkete. Ethan Oormeyer. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Advanced Diploma in Accountancy, Internal Auditing, Sibusiso Hermans. Siasanga Opu. Pelisa Ajika. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Advanced Diploma in Accountancy, Professional Accountant, Keanu Galant. Tumise Godongwana. Polisa Manangela. Kayakazi Mlongo. Annalisa Mpanka. Simtandile Yomata. Madam Chancellor, Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Advanced Diploma in Business Studies, Human Resources Management, Sinukolo Hoi. Kubani Mani. Siolise Mbasane. Ayanda Nkosi. Sinpolo Nodwala. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Advanced Diploma in Business Studies, Logistics Management, Mara Motoboli. Zenani Lokoli. Bongani Vukuza. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Advanced Diploma in Business Studies Management Practice, Kanya Dudumayo. Kumani Klaas. Sinusetu Madigizela. Mislali Macapella. Mbogeni Mayakiso. Vuyum Kela. Kambelisle Mfene. Yanga Velele. Tando Vusani. Sake Zweni. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Advanced Diploma in Business Studies, Marketing Management, Melekaya Mijisana. Siswa Antoi. Zimkita Bakele. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Advanced Diploma in Business Studies, Monitoring and Evaluation, Tebelo Motoboli. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Advanced Diploma in Economics, Mafuni Fikele, Fani Kabi. Asamashle Kulute. Nakite Marikane. Swilishle Makazana. Patandua Ndamase. Patimo Pichotse. Nompebu Zulu. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Bachelor of Commerce Honours in Business Management, Sibulelu class. Sisipu Mtibi. Sibusisu Ningi. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Bachelor of Commerce Honours in Economics, Awaba Bubelo. Posisiwe Masapanyana. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Postgraduate Diploma in Applied Economics, Asakanya Bangela. Asamasle Maliti. Mpalalatsane Tiane. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Postgraduate Diploma in Development Finance, Serole Masemola. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Postgraduate Diploma in Internal Auditing, Samkelo Okashut. Madam Chancellor, this concludes the awarding of higher certificates, diplomas, advanced diplomas, and postgraduate diplomas, and the conferring of degrees and honours degrees in the Faculty of Business and Economic Sciences.
I request the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Humanities, Professor Pamela Maseko, to present candidates for the respective qualifications.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to award the diplomas, advanced diplomas, and confer the bachelor's degrees on the candidates who have completed their respective qualifications during the past academic year. Whereafter, I shall present to you the candidates receiving their qualifications in presentia.
I award the diplomas, advanced diplomas, and confer the bachelor's degrees as requested.
Can I have your name? Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Diploma in Public Management, Owena Konisa. Nangamso Mananza. Kumisa Matikita. Malisela Muksehle. Lee Natal. Siposihle Sem. Sharon Sambo. Nonkonzo Samguni. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Diploma in Public Relations Management, Ramasela Libise. Iza Meshomane. Tabile Msomi. Imanati Khalo. Tawana. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Bachelor of Administration, Tamia Maile. Simusisiwe Kukwana. Ryan Langefeld. Malisela Malachi. Tonique Machala. Bonke Mnxeba. Khomotso Muneti. Inganathi Kaku. Gift Sindane. Tony Williams. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts, Indiphile Tambalele. Sandiso Charles. Siamthemba Data. Lolonga Gqeberha. Amazwi Fana. Let's wait a bit. Celeste Julius. Siphokuhle Khonza. Avela Leve. Tamzin Lindor. Noluntu Makanda. Ayabonga Magwaza. Kuhle Mahlangeni. Asithembe Mdaka. Thank you. Ayanda Mnyandu. Retumetse Muloi. Mukhabane Mulotsi. Koketso Munyiloto. Sinalo Mselwa. Andile Mthethwa, Simamkele Nakani, Liye Mandetwa, Sibahle Ndukwana, Ikhona Ngqongqwana, Nomusa Ngwabi, Nasiphi Nkebe, Nthabiseng Nkwana, Anelisiwe Nonyantile, Timna Nokobo, Hlangintshani, Babalwa Ntutha, Charlotte Pelembe, Lienray Peterson, Kirsty Pitt, Ondela Plaki, Noluthando Sokhulu, Sobulela Tota, Chancellor, candidate for Diploma Human Resource Management, Liye Malikwa, Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts in Media, Communication and Culture, Robi Chauke, Elihle Gqeberha, Naledi Makunga, Mfana futhi Maleka. Ikona Mangai. Vincent Meyer. Vuyelo Nkwinika. Sibonga konke Shabalala. Shadi. Mishali Yekelo. Madam Chancellor, a candidate for the degree Bachelor of Music, Lindokuhle Sichaga. Madam Chancellor, a candidate for the Advanced Diploma in Public Relations Management, Gratilwe Sikhohola. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts, Honours in Public Administration, Sakeliwani. Madam Chancellor, this concludes the awarding of diplomas, advanced diplomas, and conferring of bachelor's degrees in the Faculty of Humanities.
Thank you. I request the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Law, Dr. Lynn Biggs, to present candidates for the respective qualifications.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to award the highest certificates, diplomas, postgraduate diplomas, and confer the bachelor's degrees on the candidates who have completed their respective qualifications during the past academic year. Whereafter, I shall present to you the candidates receiving their qualifications in Prasentia.
I award the diplomas, advanced diplomas, and confer the bachelor's degrees as requested.
Madam Chancellor, candidates for the Diploma in Law Enforcement, Sinalo Boy. Pilile Mtuli. Telo Ngaba. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Bachelor of Laws, Sukumzi Daniel. Sipilisiwe Dikana. Dubula Chezi. Kusisitile Ichesagain. Kanya Makwaka. Temonani Mwase. Jade Woods. Nokutula Zikalala. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the postgraduate diploma in labour law practice, Nkosakaya Mona. Simasa Tamsanka. Madam Chancellor, this concludes the awarding of higher certificates, diplomas, and conferring of bachelor's degrees in the Faculty of Law. Madam Chancellor, I now have the privilege to request you to confer the master's degrees on the candidates who have completed their respective qualifications during the past academic year. Whereafter, I shall present to you the candidates receiving their qualifications in Prasentia.
I confer the master's degrees as requested.
Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Master of Laws coursework, Asuduma Buyana. Xavier Hensel. Onati Mbadana. Nomzama Mtembu Lutuli. Nombeko Nkande. Lesiba Ramaroka. Temba Rataza. Madam Chancellor, this concludes the conferring of master's degree in the Faculty of Law.
I request the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Business and Economic Sciences, Professor Hendrik Lloyd, to present candidates for the master's degrees.
Madam Chancellor, I now request you to confer the master's degrees of the candidates who have completed their respective qualifications during the past academic year, whereafter I shall present to you the candidates receiving their qualifications in presentia.
I confer the master's degrees as requested.
Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Master of Maritime Management coursework, Gillian Claassen. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Master of Philosophy in Maritime Studies coursework, Huisa Ghani. Simbongile Komslanhlo. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Master of Business Administration coursework, Wanda Banjwa. Byron Barnes. Amanda Gadu. Leslie Katz. Mbaza Madlukazi. Mokiwe Malotsi. Dumisani and Glove. Tulani Siesi. Junaid Sheikh. Siabolelo Trozzi. Lawrence van Zyl. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Master of Commerce Research. Tian Fourie, cum laude. Msizi and Kabinde. Asamashle Patela. Tiffany Petrus, cum laude. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Master of Commerce in Economics coursework, Khalatsang Flole. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Master of Philosophy in Development Finance coursework, Mantati Supa. Sibongile Piti. Madam Chancellor, this concludes the conferring of master's degrees in the Faculty of Business and Economic Sciences.
Executive Dean of the Faculty of Humanities, Professor Pamela Maseko, to present the candidates for the master's degrees.
Madam Chancellor, I now have the privilege to request you to confer the master's degrees on the candidates who have completed their respective qualifications during the past academic year, whereafter I shall present to you the candidates receiving their qualifications in presentia.
I confer the master's degrees as requested.
Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree, Master of Arts, Research, A.B. Lemon. Wiseman Tabashi. Athandile Lubuzo. Sinawo Lukubeni. Sive Matolengwe cum laude. Lubengo Mpapudi. Ncebakazi Sizima. Nangamso Teise. Madam Chancellor, this concludes the conferring of master's degrees in the Faculty of Humanities. Madam Chancellor, I now have the honor to present to you candidates for the doctoral degrees in the Faculty of Humanities. I request Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast and candidate Arumadri Marilyn Bako to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Breakfast, the supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present Arumari Madeline Bako to the congregation with her thesis entitled Implementation of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 and representation of women in leadership positions in the security institutions in Uganda. This thesis examined Uganda's implementation of United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 in promoting women's leadership within security institutions, employing a mixed methods approach. The study combined survey data, interviews, focus group, discussions in the Uganda Police Force, Uganda Prison Service, and Ministry of Gender. Findings indicate that although relevant policies exist, implementation has remained largely symbolic, undermined by entrenched patriarchal norms, weak accountability, tokenistic inclusion, The study developed the intersectionality and patriarchy model for the security institutions to reveal how cultural and structural barriers intersect, to recommend institutional reform, cultural change, and targeted leadership development to ensure meaningful, equitable, and lasting inclusion.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Conflict Management on Arumadri Marilyn Bako.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Conflict Management on Arumadri Marilyn Bako. Congratulations, Doctor.
I request Professor Rose Boswell and candidate Prince Kudakwashe Bosha to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Boswell, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor and privilege to present Prince Kudakwashe Bosha to the congregation with his thesis entitled Prioritizing Heritage in a Vulnerable Socio-Economic Environment, the Case of Liberation Heritage Management in Post-Apartheid South Africa. This thesis offers a profound and timely examination of the politicization of strategic prioritization of liberation heritage in post-apartheid South Africa. Grounded in rich ethnographic fieldwork at Robben Island Museum, Freedom Park, and the Apartheid Museum, it illuminates how liberation heritage, while envisioned as a unifying force, has been shaped by political agendas and sometimes exclusionary narratives. The research identifies key governance challenges, including policy incoherence, overlapping mandates, and limited community engagement, which reveals that many heritage sites, despite their symbolic prominence, yield minimal socio-economic returns to surrounding communities. This study, therefore, makes a significant contribution to rethinking heritage governance and equity in a society still navigating the enduring legacies of inequality and transition. Apologies. I request the congregation to confer the degree upon the candidate. My apologies, I lost the part of the documentation.
Sorry.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Anthropology on Prince Gqeberha Bosha.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Anthropology on Prince Gqeberha Bosha. Congratulations, Doctor.
I request Dr. Janelle Vermaak-Grizel and candidate Ambrose Dada to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Dr. Vermaak-Grizel, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present Ambrose Dada to the congregation with his thesis entitled Navigating Religion and Celebrity Fandom, an analysis of Prophet Bushiri's YouTube channel. This study explored the intersection of religion, fandom, and celebrity culture. It critically analyzed Prophet Shepherd Bushiri's YouTube videos, 10 sermons, and 988 viewers' comments, as he has been accused of prophetpreneurship. The analysis engaged Paul G's critical discourse, and findings revealed how Bushiri employed celebrity strategies, self-promotion, media use, and prosperity gospel to raise ethical concerns about religious authenticity. Despite these concerns, audience sentiment was largely positive, reflecting fandom or fanatical tendencies. The study introduces an online religious fan framework, categorizing followers as engaged, semi-engaged, disengaged, and unclassifiable. It contributes to fandom, religious communication, and digital media studies.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Media Studies on Ambrose Dada.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Media Studies on Ambrose Dada. Congratulations, Doctor. Thank you.
I request Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast and candidate Georgiades to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Breakfast, the head of the Department of History and Political Studies, to present him to the congregation on behalf of the supervisor.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present Georgiades to the congregation with his thesis entitled The Application of Bradshaw's Conflict Cube and a Contingency Model as a Management Tool for Community Property Associations within South Africa's Land Reform Process. This thesis provides a theoretical critique of the conflict management processes applied in the South African land reform process. It makes an important contribution to the discipline and fills a gap in the literature, both in respect of the land reform process and the consideration of deep-rooted conflict and its resolution. Through a documentary analytical research process, this study details the story of South Africa's land reform and its challenges. The study identifies with South Africa's land reform conflict as a quintessentially complex, deep-rooted conflict, a category which theory identifies as a highly resistant to standard conflict. Just wait a second, I'm sorry, I got lost there. It concludes that the land reform process would benefit from the insights of conflict management theory, such as Bradshaw's conflict cube and contingency theory of conflict management.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Conflict Management on Georgiades.
Thank you. I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Conflict Management on Georgiades, yeah. Congratulations.
I request Professor Rose Boswell and candidate Noluyolo Juliet Kokoza Kwesha to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Boswell, the supervisor of the candidate, to present here to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor and privilege to present Noluyolo Juliet Kokoza Kwesha to the congregation with a thesis entitled An Analysis of Cultural Practices and Border Security at Selected Seaports in the Eastern Cape Province of South Africa. This thesis investigated how the practices, process, and cultures of the ocean shape human behavior and security within seaports. By investigating their manifestation in seaport spaces, the study deepens existing theories of culture and identity in South Africa and foregrounds the role of culture in border security. The study's findings advance national, regional, and international policy regarding border management at our seaports. Currently, there's sparse sociological research on the study of maritime security, and by exploring the customs and social behaviors that might influence security at these points of entry, this research has brought insight into the study of borders as an entry point for cultural exchange.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Sociology on Noluyolo Juliet Gqeberha.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Sociology on Noluyolo Juliet Gqeberha.
I request Professor Sebenzile Masango and candidate Samkelo Nicholas Janda to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Masango, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present Samkelo Nicholas Janda to the congregation with his thesis entitled An Analysis of the Municipal Council's Oversight Function, the Case of Ngquma Local Municipality. The study analyzed the Municipal Council's oversight function in South Africa with specific reference to the Ngquma Local Municipality. The purpose of the study was to assess the role of municipal councils' oversight structures in enhancing accountability and good governance. It was to devise strategies for identifying and eliminating bottlenecks which may have a negative impact on service delivery. The study found that the architectural design of municipalities and the context within which they operate play a critical role in the effective functioning of municipal council structures. Furthermore, the study provided a framework which could be used to enhance good governance and accountability in local government.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Public Administration on Samkelo Nicholas Janda.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Public Administration on Samkelo Nicholas Janda. Congratulations, Doctor. Gqeberha.
I request candidate Nombuyiselo Kedama to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Masango, the supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present Nombuyiselo Kedama to the congregation with her thesis entitled Developing a Competent Workforce Through Talent Management, the case of a selected correctional facility in South Africa. The study investigated how talent management is used by the Department of Correctional Services in developing a competent workforce. It found that government departments, including the Department of Correctional Services, are struggling with managing talent. That has a negative impact on service delivery, and it leads to a myriad of challenges, which include mismanagement of resources and loss of critical skills. The findings revealed that Department of Correctional Services is adopting various strategies for developing a competent workforce. The study recommends an ongoing monitoring and evaluation of skills development, as well as the recruitment and retainment of skilled and competent employees.
I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Public Administration on Nombulelo Kedama.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Public Administration on Nombuselo Kedama.
I request Professor David Bohoba and candidate Daphne Madzima Goribo to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Bohoba, the supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present Daphne Madzima Ngoribo to the congregation with her thesis entitled The Formal Integration of Women Within the Mining Sector in Zimbabwe, the Case of Unki Mine. The marginalization of women in the formal mining sector is a problem globally. This study has focused on the integration of women within the mining sector at Unki Mines in Zimbabwe. The study followed a mixed method designed to gather data. Marxist feminist approach has been borrowed and used to understand marginalization issues of women in the mining sector with specific reference to Unki Mining Company. The findings reveals that for a long time, women in Zimbabwean mining sector were marginalized and continue to experience marginalization. This study contributes to the better understanding of the status of women in Zimbabwean mining sector, and it provides recommendations for enhancing the formal integration of women in the industry.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Sociology on Daphne Madzima Goribo.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Sociology on Daphne Madzima Ngoribo.
I request Professor Babalwa Makokwana and candidate Kamano Veve to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Makokwana, the supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Andra Kiet and I present Kamano Veve to the congregation with her thesis entitled an exploration of governance praxis in understanding gender transformation in higher education institutions in South Africa, a case study of Nelson Mandela University. This study focuses on the intersection of neoliberal governance with commitments to gender transformation, exploring how institutional rules, discourses, and everyday practices influence the potential for change. Dorothy Smith's institutional ethnography was applied to Nelson Mandela University as a case study. The appointment of an all-black women senior leadership at Mandela University in 2018 provides a strategic entry point to analyze how the intersections of race, gender, and representation reshape institutional cultures. The study considers how colonial legacies, apartheid geographies, and contemporary discourses continue to shape transformation efforts within higher education institutions. The findings indicate that although universities pledge to promote equity and redress, they are often hindered by market matrix, managerialism, and global competitiveness, which induce a bifurcated consciousness. Like a swinging pendulum, transformation is both facilitated and restricted by the very rules, practices, and discourses by which the university, in part, is constituted. The study suggests that gender transformation in higher education is an ongoing, contradictory, and contested process.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Sociology on Kama Noveve.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Sociology on Kama Noveve.
I request Professor Rose Boswell and candidate Joylene Lisa Sangandira to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Boswell, the supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor and privilege to present Joylene Lisa Sagandira to the congregation with a thesis entitled An Investigation of the Corridor Development of the Port of Lamu Island in Kenya and its impact on gender and intangible cultural heritage conservation. This doctoral research meticulously investigates the profound socio-cultural impacts of the Lapset, Lamu Port South, Sudan, Ethiopia Transport Corridor development project on Lamu Island in Kenya. It offers a critical analysis of the complex interplay between large-scale infrastructure, shifting gender dynamics, and the resilience of intangible cultural heritage. The study illuminates the often unforeseen consequences of development, revealing how dominant narratives surrounding national progress can obscure local realities and reinforce existing inequalities. Importantly, the research highlights the gendered dimensions of access to resources and participation in decision-making, while also demonstrating the adaptive and at times vulnerable nature of Lamu's living heritage in the face of rapid infrastructural transformation. Through rigorous ethnographic inquiry, the study provides a nuanced, locally grounded understanding of these processes, ultimately advocating for more equitable and culturally sensitive development policies that prioritize community well-being and cultural continuity.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Anthropology on Joylene Lisa Sakandira.
I confer the degree of Philosophy, Anthropology on Joylene Lisa Sakandira.
I request candidate Mutalipula Rina Siengwa Muchila to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Boswell, the supervisor of the candidate, to present here to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor and privilege to present Mutalipula Rina Siengwa Muchila to the congregation with a thesis entitled An Assessment of Sustainable Use of Marine Resources in an Indigenous Coastal Community in Swakopmund and Walfish Bay in Namibia. The study highlights the deep interconnection between cultural heritage, ecological sustainability, and community resilience among Namibia's indigenous coastal peoples. By integrating the theories of traditional ecological knowledge, or TEK, into marine governance, Namibia can promote inclusive and sustainable ocean management. The findings of the research emphasize that effective conservation requires much more than scientific data. It must also acknowledge indigenous worldviews, gender roles, and local socio-economic realities which shape the use and stewardship of marine resources in Swakopmund and Walfish Bay.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Anthropology on Mutalipula Rina Siengwa Muchila.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Anthropology on Mutalipula Rina Siengwa Muchila. Congratulations.
I request Professor Nomalanga Mkhize and candidate Mpotsedu to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Mkhize, the co-supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present Mpho Tsedu with his thesis entitled Reimagining Black Consciousness as a Contemporary Philosophy of Political Revolution. This study critically examines Black consciousness as a dynamic philosophy of liberation, comparing it with conscientism and Zikism to reveal its unresolved tensions and enduring relevance. The candidate demonstrates that while Black consciousness remains vital for psychological liberation and cultural reclamation, its radical potential is limited by racial essentialism, class fractures, and neoliberal co-optation. The research advances theoretical discourse by proposing a Black solidarity bridging the research advances theoretical discourse by proposing a class-conscious internationalist reimagining of Black solidarity, bridging psychological and materialist critiques. Methodologically, it challenges doctrinal rigidity, advocating for Black consciousness as a transnational adaptive praxis. These findings hold significant implications for post-colonial studies, offering a revitalized framework for liberation struggles in an era of globalized oppression.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Political Studies on Mpho Tsedu.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Political Studies on Mpho Tsedu.
Madam Chancellor, this concludes the awarding of qualifications in the Faculty of Humanities.
I request the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Business and Economic Sciences, Professor Hendrik Lloyd, to present candidates for the doctoral degrees.
Madam Chancellor, I now have the honor to present to you candidates for the doctoral degrees in the Faculty of Business and Economic Sciences. I request Professor Adele Potgieter and candidate Leonard William Chester to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Potgieter, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present Leonard William Chester to the congregation with his thesis entitled Influences of 4IR, Incorporating the Extended Marketing Mix on Consumer Decision-Making Process in the Automotive Aftermarket. The study conducted a comprehensive examination on the influence of the extended marketing mix and Fourth Industrial Revolution on consumer decision-making in the automotive aftermarket. Key themes include product differentiation, value-based pricing, omni-channel distribution, and promotional strategies that are supported by both literature findings and empirical data. The chapters highlight that digital transformation, knowledgeable personnel, and trust-enhancing processes play pivotal roles in shaping preferences for branded versus generic branded products. Consumer demographics and psychographies mediate these effects, reinforcing the need for integrated, tech-enabling marketing strategies to remain competitive and consumer-centric in the evolving sector.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Business Administration on Leonard William Chester.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I confer the degree of Doctor of Business Administration on Leonard William Chester. Congratulations.
I request Dr. Gift Muganu and candidate Peace Yao Ametepi to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Dr. Muganu, the supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Peace Yao Ametepi with a thesis titled The Impact of Special Economic Zones on the Ghanaian Economy. The study investigates the impact of special economic zones on the Ghanaian economy with a focus on technology spillover, job creation, export promotion, and the role of government intervention. Adopting a mixed methodology research approach that is partial least square structural equation modeling and the qualitative analysis The results reveals that SEZs contribute to the creation of manufacturing service sectors, but provide largely low skills, low pay work with low technological spillover, bureaucratic red tape, inferior infrastructure, and backward linkages regarding domestic businesses hinder broader impact. State interventions, however, like fiscal incentives, boost special economic zones' performance. In general, infrastructure and SEZ domestic business linkages improvement in Ghana are recommended for further economic growth, inclusivity, and sustainability. This research provides a more nuanced and comprehensive understanding of how SEZs contribute to various aspects of Ghana's economic development, including technology spillover, job creation, export promotion, and the role of government interventions.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Development Finance on Peace Yawo Amatepi.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Development Finance on Peace Yawo Amatepi. Congratulations.
I request Dr. Bridget de Villiers and candidate Clement Bell to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Dr. de Villiers, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself and Professor Amanda Averna, I present Clement Bell to the congregation with his treatise entitled The Role of Spiritual Leadership in Promoting a Humanizing Work Experience and Employee Engagement within the mining industry in South Africa. The study demonstrates academic merit by exploring a relevant and timely issue within the South African mining industry. The study employed structural equation modeling to examine the relationship between spiritual leadership, humanizing work experience, and employee engagement. The results revealed a significant and positive relationship between spiritual leadership and humanizing work experience. Humanizing work experience significantly mediated the relationship between spiritual leadership and employee engagement. The study makes a unique contribution through the development of a humanizing work experience scale. It also provides a deeper understanding of spiritual leadership's significant role in fostering a positive and sustainable work environment where organizational performance and employee well-being are integrated and optimized.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Industrial Psychology on Clement Bell.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Industrial Psychology on Clement Bell.
I request Professor Lewa Jeke and candidate Isaac Newton Borty to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Jeke, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to present to you Isaac Newton Borty with his thesis that is entitled Data-Led Initiatives, Institutional Quality, and their effect on sustainable debt management in sub-Saharan Africa. Newton's thesis investigates how debt relief initiatives and institutional quality affect debt sustainability in sub-Saharan Africa. Using balanced panel data and methods including difference in differences and systems generalized methods of moments, the study finds that debt relief significantly reduces debt burdens. It enhances fiscal capacity and supports economic growth. His thesis reviews further that institutional quality, particularly democratic governance, civil and political rights, and armed conflict influences debt management outcomes. Based on the results, the study recommended that debt relief initiatives should incorporate both debt cancellation and targeted efforts to strengthen institutional quality throughout the sub-Saharan region.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Development Finance on Isaac Newton Borty.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Development Finance on Isaac Newton Borty.
I request Professor Madeel Tait and candidate Sam Aubrey Fabian February to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Tate, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present Sam Aubrey Fabian February to the congregation. This is his second doctorate. Isn't that absolutely fabulous? With his thesis entitled Exploring the Utilization of Big Data Analytics in Designing Effective Marketing Strategies for South African Firms. This thesis explored the role of big data analytics in shaping strategic marketing efforts within South African firms. Using a qualitative research approach, it presented empirical insights from marketing and data professionals across sectors, developed conceptual models, and proposed frameworks for big data analytics integration. The study recommended strategic alignment between marketing and data teams, investment and digital infrastructure, and fostering a data-driven culture. Further, it emphasized ethical data governance and continuous upskilling. The research contributes to theory, practice, and policy making by highlighting the strategic value of big data analytics in the age of marketing 5.0 and offering practical guidance for data-informed marketing innovation.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Marketing on Sam Aubrey Fabian February.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Marketing on Sam Aubrey Fabian February.
I request Professor Lever Jeke and candidate Ramatan Gobe to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Jeke, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, it's a great privilege to present to you Ramadan Gobi, the Permanent Secretary to the Presidents in Uganda, with his thesis, The Determinants of Industrial Sector Growth in Uganda. His thesis focused on factor inputs, productivity, indicators, and governance factors to examine the determinants of industrial sector growth in Uganda. Drawing on neoclassical, endogenous, and institutional growth theories, his study employed a panel ARDL model using annual data from 1990 to 2022 across 5 industrial subsectors. His results showed that fixed capital formation, population growth, domestic credit access, and inflation stability significantly enhanced industrial output. On the converse, foreign direct investment, lending rates, trade openness, and weak regulatory quality negatively influenced industrial growth. Short-run effects of several variables were found not statistically significant. This implies that policies should prioritize domestic investment, affordable credit, and inflation stability, while tailoring government reforms to the structural needs of the sector, and its publication has been accepted and published. Thank you.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Economics on Ramatan Gobe.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Economics on Ramatan Gobe. Congratulations.
I request Mr. Yolisa Mkumatela and candidate Ephraim Gqeberha to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Mr. Mkumatela, the head of the Department of Logistics, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present Ephraim Gqeberha to the congregation with his thesis entitled Sustainable Waste Stewardship, Stakeholder Collaboration, and Sustainable Cold Supply Chain Performance in Zimbabwe's Retail Sector. This study examined the mediation effects of sustainable waste stewardship practices and stakeholder collaboration on the relationship between sustainable cold supply chain factors and performance in Zimbabwe's cold chain retail sector, addressing food, spoilage, and waste issues. A quantitative survey of 281 cold chain retail managers was conducted, with data analyzed using descriptive statistics, exploratory factor analysis, and structural equation modeling path analysis in AMOS. Results indicated a significant partial mediation effect of sustainable waste stewardship practices and stakeholder collaboration on the link between sustainable cold supply chain factors and performance. The study proposed a sustainable waste stewardship implementation framework for cold supply chains.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Logistics on Ephraim Gqeberha.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Logistics on Ephraim Gqeberha. Congratulations, Doctor.
I request Professor Sandra Perks and candidate Kundai Koti to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Perks, the supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great pleasure to present to the congregation Kundai Koti with a thesis entitled Survival Strategies for Hospitality Eastern Cape Small Businesses During COVID and Beyond. The COVID-19 pandemic influenced the business climate, in particular the hospitality industry, not just during but beyond the pandemic. The study provided a strategic framework for hospitality, accommodation and eatery small businesses by suggesting functional business strategies to not just cope during crisis periods, but to recover and for future sustainability. Strategies recommended include combining an employee and customer-centric disaster management approach, innovative use of social media marketing, forming strategic collaborative partnerships, and developing risk and disaster management policies to be used as a blueprint for future sustainability.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Business Management on Kundai Koti.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Business Management on Kundai Koti. Congratulations, Doctor.
I request Professor Chantel Roodman and candidate Kuliswa Matiase to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Roodman, the co-supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, also on behalf of the supervisor, Dr. Kolile Antoni, I present Kuliswa Matiase to the congregation with a thesis entitled Fraud Complaint Behaviour and the Role of Perceived Justice in Bank-Client Relationships in South Africa. The rise in fraud incidents has increased the number of complaints against various banks in South Africa. The study investigated bank-client relationships by considering the role of perceived justice in fraud complaint behaviour. Several significant and positive relationships were found between numerous factors. The results showed that perceived justice fully mediates the relationship between seeking redress and relationship quality,
and partially mediates the relationship between seeking redress and post-complaint behavior. The study contributes to the field of relationship marketing in the context of banking. Practical recommendations are provided to manage fraud complaints and improve bank-client relationships.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Business Management on Koliswa Matiase.
I confer the degree. No, I must page of Doctor of Philosophy Business Management on Koliswa Matiase. Congratulations, Doctor. Wait.
I request Dr. Ayanda Deliwe and candidate Melba Hlulani Mawila to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Deliwe, the co-supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Professor Smith and myself, it gives me great pleasure to present Melba Hlulani Mawila to the congregation with her thesis entitled Developing a Framework of Responsible Management Practices Within JSE-Listed Companies. The thesis advances scholarship on responsible management by developing and empirically validating a model linking individual, organizational, and external factors to responsible competitiveness and sustainable well-being in JSE-listed companies. The study is underpinned by stakeholder theory, utilitarianism, institutionalism, practice theory, and post-humanism. The study findings show that individual, organizational, and external factors play a significant role in shaping responsible management practices. The study offers valuable recommendations for companies, policymakers, and educators to integrate ethics, responsibility, and sustainability into their business practices, thereby supporting national and global development goals.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Business Management on Melba Hlulani Mawila.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Business Management on Melba Hlulani Mawila. Congratulations, Doctor.
I request Professor Shelley Farrington and candidate Raymond Patrick Matura to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Farrington, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Professor Elmarie Venter, it gives me great pleasure to present to the congregation Raymond Patrick Matura with his thesis entitled A Digital Innovation Adoption Framework for Kenyan Family-Owned Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. This study aimed to develop a digital innovation adoption framework for Kenyan family-owned MSMEs to improve business innovation as well as increase customer satisfaction and business success. The data collected was analyzed using structural equation modeling, and the framework developed highlighted certain technological, organization, and environmental, as well as family-specific factors that influenced innovation using digital technologies in these businesses. Socio-emotional wealth, the non-financial goal of family businesses, was also found to influence digital innovation adoption, which in turn influenced financial performance. The findings highlighted the influence of family emotional priorities on innovation decisions and the importance of innovation using digital technologies for long-term business success.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Business Management on Raymond Patrick Matura.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Business Management on Raymond Patrick Matura.
I request Dr. Roger Miller and candidate Shakila Naguja to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Dr. Miller, the supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present Shakila Naguja to the congregation with a thesis entitled The Influence of Work Engagement on E-Teaching Adoption in Higher Education Institutions in Uganda. This study investigated how work engagement can be used to improve e-teaching adoption in Ugandan higher education institutions. Using a quantitative research design, the results showed that workplace resources, PsyCap, and workplace demands significantly enhanced work engagement and e-teaching adoption. While workplace demands did not directly affect adoption, work engagement proved critical. The study offers empirical and theoretical contributions, highlighting the role of PsyCap and the JDR model in managing academic demands. One main recommendation is that higher education institutions invest in workplace resources, foster PsyCap, and implement professional training to enhance academics' engagement and ultimately drive successful e-teaching adoption across higher education institutions in Uganda.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Business Management on Shakila Naguja.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Business Management on Shakila Naguja. Congratulations, Doctor.
I request Mr. Yolisa Mkumatela and candidate Robertson Turiam-Vijuka to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Mr. Mkumatela, the head of the Department of Logistics, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present Robertson Turiam-Vijuka to the congregation with his thesis entitled A Sustainable Public Procurement Implementation Framework for Public Sector Entities in Uganda. The purpose of the study was to develop and propose a sustainable public procurement implementation framework to enhance sustainable public procurement performance of Ugandan public sector entities. The study used a paper-based structured questionnaire to gather quantitative data from a sample size of 253 purposefully selected respondents. The primary results of the study revealed that sustainable procurement drivers significantly and positively influence sustainable public procurement performance and sustainable public procurement approaches. The study offers actionable recommendations for enhancing sustainable public procurement performance outcomes, including carbon footprint reduction, cost savings, improved waste management, and the promotion of inclusive and sustainable economic growth.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Logistics on Robertson Turiam-Vijuka.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Logistics on Robertson Turiam-Vijuka. Congratulations, Doctor.
Madam Chancellor, Candidate Isaac Gqeberha was unable to travel to graduation today. I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Human Resources Management on Isaac Gqeberha in absentia.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Human Resource Management on Isaac Gqeberha in absentia.
Madam Chancellor, this concludes the awarding of qualifications in the Faculty of Business and Economic Sciences.
I now request the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Law, Dr. Lynn Biggs, to present the candidates for the doctoral degrees.
Madam Chancellor, I now have the honour to present to you candidates for the doctoral degrees in the Faculty of Law. I request Mr. Thandikolo Kutoy and candidate Ntoka Lydia Mamashela to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Mr. Kutoy from the Department of Mercantile Law to present her to the congregation on behalf of the Supervisor.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Professor Adrian van der Walt, I present Swaki Lydia Mamashela to the congregation with a thesis entitled Equal Pay for Work of Equal Value, Lessons from Canada and the United Kingdom. This research investigates the principle of equal pay for work of equal value in Canada, the United Kingdom, and South Africa, irrespective of race, gender, color, or any other personal factors. This concept is enshrined in international conventions of the United Nations and the International Labour Organization, as well as domestic legislation in several nations, including Canada, the United Kingdom, and South Africa. Nevertheless, even with these and domestic regulations put in place, hurdles still persist in effectively resolving gender and race-based pay inequalities in facts and practice. Addressing these challenges would assist an employee in instituting a claim against an employer in a dispute concerning equal pay for work of equal value. Accordingly, the study provides important insights that may guide legislative and policy reforms for South Africa.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Laws, Mercantile Law on Ntsaki Lydia Mamashela.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Laws, Mercantile Law on Ntsaki Lydia Mamashela. Congratulations, Doctor.
I request Professor Joanna Botha and candidate Monet Ulufir to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Gqeberha, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Professor Max du Plessis and myself, it is my pleasure to present Morne Olivier to the congregation with his thesis entitled Judicial Selection and Appointment in South Africa. The study explores the constitutional requirements for selecting and appointing judges in terms of Section 174 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. Judges should be fit, proper, and appropriately qualified, while the judiciary should broadly reflect South Africa's race and gender composition criteria and guidelines developed by the Judicial Service Commission, the body responsible for the nomination and selection of judges, are analysed to assess whether they are congruent with the constitutional requirements. The research concludes that merit and diversity are not binary, but complementary to ensure that the most appropriately qualified candidates are appointed. The study is both timely and necessary and has the potential to make a profound contribution to the way in which the JSC performs its constitutional obligations.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Laws, Public Law, on Morne Olivier.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Laws, Public Law, on Morne Olivier. Congratulations.
Madam Chancellor, this concludes the awarding of qualifications in the Faculty of Law.
As we draw this graduation to its close, on behalf of the congregation, I wish to extend our deepest gratitude to our graduates for their hard work and dedication. We also thank their families and friends for their unwavering support, which has been instrumental in reaching this milestone. Our sincere appreciation goes out to our dedicated academic, professional, administrative, and support services staff for their commitment to education and student success. We thank the Arts, Culture, and Heritage Ensemble, which has enriched this ceremony. Before I conclude, I'd like all the graduates to stand up. I'd like you to take a bow in the direction of your families, friends, or even the academic and support staff. And finally, I'd like you to toss your hats up into the air. Thank you. I hope you caught your own hat back afterwards. By virtue of the powers vested in me as Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, it's my distinct honor to now declare this congregation dissolved. I now request the congregation to stand for the singing of the national anthem and to remain standing while the academic procession departs.
Sure.